Hey guys, Bipolar Barbie here, and today I'm going to be talking about this big question that I think a lot of people really grapple with, which is, who am I? Who is Barbie? And I think, the reason I chose the name Bipolar Barbie is because Barbie has lots of different, outfits. There's many different versions of Barbie. Like when you look at the toy, you've got Nurse Barbie, you've got um, Dr. Barbie, horse riding Barbie, beachside Barbie, whatever it is. And for me, I felt like a naked Barbie doll, not exactly knowing what I would be each day. Mental illness would dress me, and my clothing would be really reflective of what mood state I was in. And just like Barbie waiting for a little girl to tell her what role she's going to play, I was in the same state of mind. And I mean, for me though, the difference is rather than, Barbie having a profession or a kind of an activity to define her, I was borderline Barbie, bipolar Barbie, anxious Barbie, depressed Barbie, suicidal Barbie, psycho bitch Barbie. I mean, every symptom of my illness, and every episode that I had was a different me. And for a really long time, it was hard to distinguish what was me and what was mental illness me, because mental illness is like a filter that comes down over you, and it literally changes who you are as a person. Or at least it's like onions have layers. I just thought this Shrek. Isn't it? Shrek's such a good movie. I love it. I'm gonna have to watch that again after this. But it's just like these little jackets that get put over you. It's like another layer of clothing, another skin, and each mood state, each mental illness has a different filter, has a different coat that it puts on you. And other people really struggle to see through it, because they judge you based on how you're acting, when where you are in life, and the characteristics that you display. And I know my family, for example, for a really long time, or even maybe still, don't know the difference between depressed me and who I am as a person. Mental illness me is how they define me. And that is really, really hard to deal with, because on the inside, somewhere I'm going, this isn't me. This doesn't feel like me. And that's what recovery really is about to me. It's about stripping away those layers, getting rid of those filters, so I can be me again. So I can be me without the symptoms of depression. I can be me without the symptoms of anxiety. I can be me without all the other mental illnesses that I am facing, or psychological issues that I can get to the bottom of and really go, this is who I am. And for me, who is that person? That person, I guess, was really what I thought of, which was sort of in law school, which was in high school. That person that didn't have restrictions, I could do anything she set her mind to. That person that I got to know from the time I was born up until then. Not this person I sort of suddenly became like overnight when I had my first manic episode, and everything just went to shit after that. And I never really believed that was me. But people started to see that as me, and I felt like I was screaming inside, going, this isn't me, this isn't me. Something is wrong with me. And that's half the reason that I got my tattoos, is because I really felt like I was like compelled to show people outwardly that I was not the same, because I didn't feel the same on the inside. And people who had known me my whole life didn't understand why I was acting in this way, didn't understand why I keep saying, I felt different, because they saw me as the same person. And that was really, really hard. But what I've noticed is that I'm not the only person that grapples with this. A lot of my friends really grapple with this, and I think the more you thought you knew yourself, the more you defined yourself definitively, you know, throughout high school and maybe when you left high school, and the longer you did that, then the harder you really are gonna fall. You know, when you have that wake up call and go, shit, I was really happy with who I was, and now I'm like, I don't like this person. This person sucks. Why would anyone like this person? So you kind of understand why no one likes you, but you still have a yearning to be loved. And when people ask me, you know, am I single because I don't have a boyfriend, I say no, I'm in a committed relationship to myself. Because I really have to learn to love myself. I really have to figure out who I am before you get to know who you are compatible with in other people. And I sort of realized through this entire journey, you know, I was really resentful of this journey. And I felt like it just took away who I was. But once I've started to come out the other side and starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, I actually realized it's brought out who I am. It's made me, you know, it gave me the gift of writing back. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was write a book, and people just kept saying to me like, oh, it's not that good. No one recognized my work, so I stopped writing. And, you know, I stopped painting and I stopped drawing and all of these things. And because of my mental health issues, I really poured myself into those outlets. And my public speaking and doing these videos and all the platforms that I share my story with, without mental illness, I wouldn't be able to do that. You know, I'm sure maybe I would have found a way to find something that I was really passionate about, but I can define myself by my strengths, not society and what they wanted to define me as. And I think that's a really difficult thing growing up, where people say, you know, oh, you should be this, you know, you're defined by your career, you're defined by those sort of big choices that you make. And people really like to tell you who you are. My dad likes to tell me who I am, and apparently I'm just this absolutely horrible, unlovable, despicable person. I know that's not who I am, but for a long time I honestly believed that. I didn't want to believe it, but people really do influence how you view yourself. And if you surround yourself with really toxic, negative people and abusive people, then you're going to have a shitty view of yourself, because it you know, what people say to you really does repeat in your mind like a broken record, especially if someone you care about keeps saying the same thing again and again. But if you surround yourself with positive people, if you find people that will accept you, who are on the same page as you, then that record will change. A different song will start playing, which will be, you are an awesome person. I really like hanging out with you and I really enjoy your company. And one of the most important things I did was, when I was in hospital, I reached out to important people in my life and I said, what is it that you value about me? Because I kind of had to know what others valued about me so I could begin to explore what I really valued about myself and how I defined myself. Because I think your potential is really heavily linked to how you define yourself. If you define yourself as a failure, well, of course you're never going to succeed. And I definitely don't define myself by my mental illnesses. And it really annoys me when people accuse me of that. I define myself by how I'm overcoming this shit. I define myself by everything that I have done and continue to do to get better. To be me without restrictions. To be that person that I really want to be without the lack of energy, without the increased heart rate, without just wanting to die. You know, I want to live. I want to stop surviving, and I want to start living and eventually thriving. And those are things that most people enjoy. And, you know, I was kind of robbed of that for a really long time. I mean, when people really tell me that they know themselves, I'm always really skeptical. Because every experience that we have really changes us every single day. I like to think of it like your mind is a beautiful garden. Well, it can be a terrible wasteland as well. Or just a, really tormented forest. But every experience that you have, every person that you interact with, everything that you watch, everything that you read, like literally everything that your brain absorbs, every piece of stimuli plants a seed in your mind. And some of them, if they're really positive, will grow into these beautiful flowers. But others, if they're really negative and toxic and poisonous, they will grow into disgusting, spiky, horrible vines. And unfortunately, those are the ones that tend to grow the quickest. And if you don't tame them, then they will take over that garden. And they can spread more seeds, and they kind of change the soil so that those particular seeds, those poisonous, disgusting seeds, will be more likely to thrive in your mind. And just remember, if you don't get to the root cause of them and dig them out completely, then they're always going to resprout, they're always going to regrow. But sometimes you do need to chop off the arms, before you can cut someone off at the knees. But we need to remember that there's fertilizer for that as well. There's fertilizer by staying in those toxic situations, by perpetuating the cycle of fueling yourself with stimuli that is incredibly negative. And that is a choice that you are making. I mean, some seeds you don't have a choice over them being planted, but you have a choice as to how you groom them. You have a choice as to what you do with them, and whether or not you continue allowing those seeds to be planted. Because some people just have that bag of seeds and it's like grass they're trying to grow. They're just throwing them out and they're just like, we're going to poison every part of you. So that's just some of my thoughts, I guess, on grappling with who I am. And I really do kind of feel like for the first time in a really long time, I'm not just getting back to who I am, but I've had a lot of self-reflection, and I kind of know who I am, both the negative and positive. And I think that's what you really need to weigh up, because if there's something you don't like about yourself, then you need to acknowledge that and work on that. And that's what I do. I'm not afraid of my weaknesses because I want to turn them into strengths. So that's, I guess, maybe who I am. And I really hope that you guys open yourselves up to the possibility of just going on that journey and rediscovering yourself and reevaluating who you are every single day in a really positive way. Because if you don't know who you are, then all of your choices are really going to be influenced by that, and you are going to be very erratic. And it is hard when you are constantly switching mood states, but that is the reason that you need to pursue some form of recovery, whatever that means for you. So thanks for watching my video. Again, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and give this video a thumbs up. It would mean a lot to me. And if you feel like letting me know your thoughts, do that in the comments below, because I really do love reading them. And if you feel like other people, need to see this video, then feel free to share. I really think some of these things more people need to know about. So, yeah. See you next video.